As we wait for the formation of the new government in Thailand, the European Association for Business and Commerce is trying to push negotiations on an EU-Thailand FTA. Talks resumed in March this year between Thailand and its fourth largest trading partner to Thailand, but the agreement has been on the agenda for over a decade.
We have a skilled force in
In
Thailand.
an exclusive interview with Thai PBS World, the president of EABC, Fari Bigoli, complimented the positive cooperation with the Thai government in terms of the FTA process.
We're hoping then by the end of the year that both Thailand and Europe have identified key chapters of which it wishes to look at and address to make sure. So, for example, I anticipate there will be a chapter, for example, on intellectual property rights. I should imagine there will be a chapter on sustainability and environmental protection. I should imagine there will be a chapter on labour force and labour's rights. Trade tariffs, clearly.
Given that both economies are positively fostering the negotiations while political instability persists in Thailand, the uncertainty over the new government formation has led to a lack of confidence from foreign investors. But Farid believes if the new government can be formed in July, negotiation on the EU-Thailand FTA will remain on the right track.
I think irrespective of what happens and what government's formed, everybody's in support of a free trade agreement with Europe. I think in September, hopefully, by the end of July, hopefully sooner, we will have a government formed in Thailand, most definitely. And we hope that, you talk about sustainability, we hope that actually that is a sustainable government that's elected and there aren't any challenges there as well, because that would delay free trade negotiations.
Do you think political influences will play in the trade negotiations?
I don't think so. I think, for Europe to announce that they would recommence the negotiations in March, prior to knowing which party would go in, I think Europe was confident that every party felt that a free trade agreement between Thailand and Europe was a good thing.
A sustainable government is what Farid suggested to the next administration. Move forward's economic policy to raise the minimum wage to 450 baht has increased concern over SMEs. But what European businesses desire are long-term strategies by the Thai government, which can reinforce Thailand's competitiveness in Southeast Asia.
So I don't really think that, European businesses will be deterred by a hike in minimum wage. What we want to see is a skilled workforce. I think Thailand can introduce things like vocational training. Thailand needs to look at, say, what are the key S-curve areas where it wants to compete and it thinks it can compete, and how does it then, from a grassroots level, develop an education system to make sure that it can compete on that level from an education perspective. We really need to be thinking about, planting the seeds for the next 10 or 15 years in terms of what we need to put in place now to grow our economy forward. So having that long-term plan, having that confidence that you will still be in office, in the next term is really important as well. I think also, when we're thinking about sustainability, it's also sustainability of policy. Yeah, making sure that we choose the right policies and the policies are developed by technocrats, not necessarily by politicians.
In addition to long-term policies, Farid said the recent Thailand stock market has plummeted is because 100 billion baht in equity was sold by foreign investors in the first 5 months of this year. The stock market will, however, normalize after the next government is formed.
But I think from a stock market perspective, the most important thing is that, a decision is made quickly over the government, who's going to form the government, who becomes Prime Minister. And I think what we will see a normalisation of the stock market. But in summary, we're coming from a very high base because Thailand's had a great Q1 based on previous years, linked to its peak season in tourism. And therefore, we see a little bit of, let's say, confidence linked with the elections. But I think as soon as we have a government announced, I think we'll see a return in the confidence of the stock market.
The European business leader emphasized the significance of an elected government in providing sustainable policy for European investors and others around the world. Faris said Thailand could attract more foreign direct investment and increase its competitiveness drastically if the government could reform its bureaucratic system and build a fair economic system swiftly. Frank Han Shi reporting for Thai PBS World.